Not quite 1/4, and never just half, but the entirety of one primate, whole. It is the part of a story, an idea that means more to you than me. Hello and welcome to Full Gorilla Life. We are Jeremy Keene,
Larry Medina, and Corey Hewlings.
Each week, we will break down an important life concept or talk with an inspiring person so that you can live your full gorilla life.
Welcome back, everyone. We'd like to welcome you back. We'd like to introduce you to retired Colonel of the Air Force, Marty Zickert. And Marty, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Love to. I can talk forever.
Good. We're going to test that theory
see what happens.
in a minute. But before we get into your story and all the good stuff that you bring to our local community, we'd like to run you through the Gorilla Gauntlet.
Sure.
All right, Marty. Are you married or single?
I am widowed.
Okay. Any children?
I have two. I had a total of three. And then when I got remarried, I got four more that came along with that.
Okay.
But they were all grown and gone, except one.
Okay.
So it's hard to say, yes, I do. I have one son that lives here in town.
Okay.
He's the investment advisor for PNC Bank. So
All right.
he's the one that the other ones, one was a Marine Corps and 20-year Marine. So we've had a pretty good group.
Okay. Cool. What city do you live in?
What city?
Yeah.
Vero Beach. For 20 years.
It's a beautiful
20
city.
years.
Yeah, wouldn't leave it.
20. Where were you before that?
Everywhere.
Okay. Military.
Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah. Every 2 years you go somewhere.
Were you ever in Alaska?
TDY. I was never permanently stationed there.
So I have a friend of mine that was in Alaska, and he was there for 4 years in Alaska, and he came back, and his email address is sweatnfl.
Yeah.
Because he's always hot to this day. Like it'll get to the 30s and he'll walk around in shorts and t-shirt. Yeah. And I remember him when he first came in, it was the first winter. It was like 30 degrees and he was sweating.
Yeah.
I was like, good Lord, dude.
He got that Alaska. He got used to that Alaska and came back to Florida.
Yeah, he came back with leather as skin, Anyways.
Now, were you ever stationed at Patrick?
No, that was Patrick is kind of a non-flying base.
Okay.
They've got C-130s there, but they're rescue 130s. And
What else? I've heard it's like the resort base.
Yeah.
I from a couple of friends that are that have tried getting to Patrick, they're like, it's very hard to get there. It
is. Well, it's people just tend to stay there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get a house on the beach.
Yeah.
I can't afford a house on the beach.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's how I ended up here was when when I got remarried, we said, well, after I retire, we'll live 3 years around my kids, and they were in Houston, then 3 years around her kids. And then we finally, she was in Pensacola, and after 3 years there, we said, where do we want to go? And we had been to Patrick.
Okay.
And they had housing, officer housing on the base building. And we'd been there 3 or 4 days and said, what a cool place. I got palm trees and all this good stuff.
Yeah.
And I got a job in Melbourne, and we moved to Sebastian. And my wife got to work with Georgie Warren, and best company in Vero Beach by far.
What do they do?
They do oil and gas trading.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I had no idea. We had an oil and
I
gas
didn't either.
trading in
I'm
Vero Beach.
kind of intrigued.
If you will look at the events that are coming up, charitable events, you're going to see Georgie Warren is one of the top gold sponsors type of stuff. They just
that's awesome.
It is. Tom Core has just got a heart for everybody. He's helped us out, and I'll tell you about that one later.
Okay.
So before you go to the next one, we talked about places you've lived. Where's your favorite place that you were stationed?
Germany.
Berlin?
Spangalen, the other side of Germany.
Okay.
All the way over by Luxembourg. It was a small fighter base. If you consider 72 F-4s small base, it was us. Then Bitburg had the F-15s, and Hahn had F-16s.
My
So-
right on. My dad was in the army. He was stationed in Berlin when I was a baby. I would live there for like 3 years, but I don't remember any of it. But
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So
I'd been there, but Germany, the first time I was there, the wall was still up, and the Autobahn.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You could run however fast you thought you could run, and there was somebody faster.
Yeah.
Always.
So Marty, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Just enough to be dangerous.
Okay. By the way, I heard that on Madagascar. So
That's all you got. That's all you got.
Yeah.
He blew it all right there.
That's it.
He gave it all to you.
right on. Hey, just in case if somebody comes up and they're like, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
And you're like, no. I can answer that
Yeah.
question. That's it.
All right. What kind of cell phone? iPhone or Android?
Android.
Okay. Have you always been Android? Or you ever
No,
tried
I
the iPhone?
had an iPhone for a long time and never really figured it out.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Most people don't switch once they're on one side.
And it was okay, and I don't even remember how I got into Android. It had to have been a good deal.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear that.
I can get on board in that.
So now
You're speaking Keen's language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good deals.
I'm big into good deals.
Okay.
All right.
Favorite movie or book?
Oh, favorite movie is Airplane.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I love this. I love this.
There is nothing better than Airplane especially when you're flying. My whole family, except for my ex-wife, who never did understand Airplane, my kids, we would get on an airplane and we would start with the fasten the seatbelt sign and all that sorts of
Yeah.
things, and it was just one of those where you went, this is so humorous. And
Yes.
and you had to watch the movie 3 or 4 times to catch everything that was going on.
Yeah.
I think my favorite dance scene is the Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was good.
It's gold.
Yeah.
It's gold.
Yeah.
I love that scene. I don't know why, but when she starts twirling him around, that cracks me up every time. Sorry. All right.
That is just one of those. That's a no-brainer for me.
That's
All right.
awesome. Okay.
Favorite genre of music?
Country,
Country? Like old country, new country, everything?
everything. I started country with Garth Brooks,
Okay.
and
That's Larry's one exception to country.
Yeah, I'm not a country fan. However, Garth Brooks is the exception. Like,
But he doesn't count Cash as country.
Yeah.
No.
Well, now he is so talented. I saw him in person in Houston at the rodeo, and the guy's amazing. I started listening to country. I'm a '50s guy primarily. That's the era I grew up in, when you could still understand the words.
Okay.
And that's what I like about country is they always have a story, and you can always understand the words. And
I get that.
everything after that, when I was raising kids, I just went, what is that?
well, that's the one thing I'll say, and I can see why most folks will gravitate towards country is because all the other stuff, minus rock, is getting fairly inappropriate.
Yeah.
So
It's ones that you kind of go, really?
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
This is
Yeah.
what you're listening to?
yeah, I could see that.
And I got started with Garth Brooks. Primarily, I was at Edwards in California, which is in the middle of the Mojave Desert. And we only got one radio station. So
And there it began. There you go.
And I was recovering from an angioplasty, and they made me walk for an hour every night. And so I walked the golf course every night, and Garth was the only thing that you heard all the time. And he was just getting cranked up, and I went,
There you
this
go.
guy is
Yeah.
pretty good.
Next thing you know, you're blaming it on your roots.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, the modern country, I was never a Willie Nelson fan or any of that. I listened to country growing up because, again, I grew up in central Wisconsin, and there was one station out of Tennessee that you could hear at night.
And there you go.
And
More
so
country.
you got George Jones and all the Loretta Lynn and all those things.
Conway Twitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't start trying to name drop stuff like you know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Hello,
over there.
darling. Nice to
This
meet
guy's
you.
just throwing any name you can
It's
think of.
been a long time.
Oh, please stop.
Yeah.
I think we just lost listeners right there. In 10 seconds, we lost listeners, Marty.
All right, sorry.
Please
go ahead.
come back. All right. For restaurants, reservation or just walk in?
I prefer to walk in, but this time of year, as you know, you gotta, if you're going to any kind of a real restaurant, other than my favorites are all down 14th Avenue. I don't go over the bridge very often.
Do you like Southern Social?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm curious as to what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I know. Did they sell finally?
Yeah,
they
sold,
did. Yeah,
yeah.
I knew they were up for sale.
1st of February was the official. Now, they still own Filthy's,
Oh, okay.
but the Southern Social is under new management, and
Yeah.
I haven't been in
We
since.
just ate for our Christmas sweater party.
Post and Vine.
Post and Vine.
Yeah,
and it
Post
was
and
really
Vine's
good.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good.
Their burger is fantastic.
Yeah. Going into that, favorite type of food?
It's just comfort food more than anything else. You know, I married twice. Both girls were from the South.
Okay.
It was fried chicken,
Yes.
All right.
mashed potatoes and gravy.
I'm talking about.
All right.
Woo, that kind
Black
of,
eyed peas.
that kind of stuff,
Okay,
and
some mustard.
and ribs and shrimp and
Marty, have you had Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes sandwich?
yeah. But it's if I'm in, it all depends where I'm at.
Okay.
You know, Chick-fil-A is really good. It's always had a decent one.
Yeah.
And you know, Popeyes is kind of off and on for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? That's a good point.
fair statement.
Yeah.
And
That's-
I think
Consistency
even
goes a
when
long
we
way.
did the comparison, that's what, Chick-fil-A is always consistent.
Yeah.
Like it
That's
doesn't
what-
generally
that's-
matter where I go. What
Popeyes
one I
is
go
better on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is closed.
Well, they have the spicy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The best one in town here is Maryland fried chicken.
Yeah.
I
You're right.
do like Maryland though. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
What type of vehicle do you drive?
I drive two different ones. I have the one I drove over here tonight's a 2015 Dodge Ram,
Okay.
and I have a 2014 Corvette.
Oh, okay. That's right up my alley right there.
Yeah,
I don't own one.
bright red, arrest me red.
Arrest me red.
I want that new 2021 like I could taste it.
Yeah, I never want the first edition.
Yeah,
of
I
something.
know. I'd rather have a manual gate anyway, so I'm hoping
Yeah,
maybe by the time I can afford one, they'll have a manual gate.
Yeah, I went to when I went to Vietnam in 73. I ordered a new Corvette to be picked up in 74.
Okay.
Because it was 1 year.
So that was a Stingray, right?
I got the war ended. I got assigned to the Philippines. Next thing I knew, I couldn't take the Corvette to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And I had it for 2 weeks and took it to my ex-wife, said, sell it. I'll get one when I come back. 40 years later,
Okay.
I got my Corvette
That's
back.
all. Okay. I appreciate that though. You never let that go.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I've now had 3 bright red Corvettes.
I haven't had one yet. I've always wanted one. I've been on my way to the dealership with the deal done and called the salesman and been like, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that just, I've owned a lot of vehicles over my lifetime. I probably have 14 in this yard right now.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration.
No, it's not.
These guys know
It's
how
not.
crazy about
No.
vehicles I am.
Most of them I have to push, but
Yeah. I mean,
Like
don't worry about that.
three, some are like 3 equals 1.
Yeah.
maybe.
But the Corvette, there is a Corvette out back. It's just a body though, or just a frame because
I've got a friend of mine that's doing that same type of thing.
yeah.
He's just kind of a frame, and he said, when are you going to blow your engine? This one I've got has got a blower on it, and it's way more than I need.
Oh wow, on the
Oh, yeah.
14,
Oh yeah.
very nice. Is it a Z06 or just a standard with a blower on it?
No, it's a automatic with a blower, and I didn't know it had a blower when I bought it.
Oh okay.
I had never paid attention to that. I just loved it because it was bright red and had red wheels that were $1,000 a piece, and I went, hey,
There you go.
that's the one.
it was a birthday present a year ago.
Oh, very
that's
nice.
awesome.
That's cool.
So I've had it right at it a little over, just under a year now.
Awesome.
Awesome. Beer, whiskey, or wine?
Beer,
Beer,
walking tree.
walking
Oh,
tree.
yes.
Oh,
Okay.
we're actually going to have them on
Next Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're great. I've been with them from the day they started, and I'm one of 2 people that have a mug there.
Okay.
And it's
What do you mean?
He used to bring his own mug and gets it filled up. Yeah.
They keep a mug for me there.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
okay.
It was a military thing, and it happened because Mike Malone, who is one of the owners there, wanted me to get the Blue Angels to come to Walking Tree. And it was he's the one that said, "Do you have a mug?" And I went, "Yeah." He said, "Bring it in. We'll keep it for you."
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
I believe last year that's how I watched the Blue Angels was at Walking Tree, because it was my buddy's 40th birthday, and he's like, "I want to go to Walking Tree," and I was like, "Okay." So we went and we met him there, and we had the privilege of being able to see part of the air show because it's visible right there.
Yeah, it's right there, and they're it was they're a good bunch of guys. You know, and Mike was going to paint the roof blue. He said, "Whatever it takes," and I said,
That's awesome.
You will never get a ride. He wanted a ride in the F-18. That's what he really wanted.
have you rode in there?
No, I'm not eligible.
The
Okay. What do you have to do to be eligible?
They've just loosened it up. It used to be you had to be an educator, someone that worked with kids.
Oh, that's why. Because last year the superintendent that was here, he's not the superintendent now. He got to ride last year.
That's how he got the ride last year.
Yeah,
Blue
Dr. Rendell got to ride in the Blue Angels last year, the year before.
It was 18.
Okay,
it was 18
that's
air
right.
show, and he had been picked for 16, but they didn't come in 16 because the accident.
Oh,
We were the last ones they canceled. And but he got to ride it. This year, they've opened it up to first responders. So now we've got, if you're law enforcement, anything to do in that arena,
Cool.
fire. So I'm guessing we're recommending a couple of guys. You have to send 4 recommendations to the admiral in Corpus Christi, and he generally picks the one that we say, this is who we really want. And then they also have a media rider, someone who they call it key influencer. Will get to fly first.
like a podcaster. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Marty.
Podcast.
I'm an educator and a podcaster. Is
Boom.
that like times 2?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I would ride the heck out of some Blue Angels.
Oh my God,
it's-
it would be so much fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a blast. I didn't miss flying. I flew F-4s for 20 years, and so it's same thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss flying after I retired. Until I took over the Blues here, and went.
Yeah.
I really missed that.
Yeah.
That was really,
I can imagine.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Now, what do you think of these stories where like people are like, they do like an emergency landing, and like you hear these stories, you're like, I mean, how accurate is that stuff?
It depends. We have to have a barrier. Fighters require a barrier, and our barrier is over at Avon Park. We don't have one here. If you lose hydraulics, utility hydraulics, you lose nose gear steering. Can't drive down the runway at a high rate of speed without nose gear steering. So that's what the barrier is for.
Okay.
It doesn't happen very often. But, we lost, when I was in Germany, I was there 5 years, and we lost probably 8 to 10 airplanes.
Jeez.
Wow.
As
So
we-
did they like eject? Did the
Yeah.
pilots eject? Yeah.
Some,
Yeah.
not all of them. We lost probably 8 guys in the time I was there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's more frequent than like what I would have thought, honestly.
Yeah.
they just lost. I've had 3 air show friends that have died since we started air shows in 2014.
Okay.
And
Now, is there a lot of pushback for like the air shows, like from like different like government agencies and stuff? Like, is there a need for this type of deal?
the FAA is the one that you have to work with, and there are some FAA guys that are just wonderful. Bob Jex is a guy here, and he's just been, if it makes sense, we're going to do it.
Okay.
There are other ones that if the book says I can't, then you can't type of thing.
I gotcha.
The Blues are the best. I'm an Air Force guy, so Thunderbirds are my guys, and I'm working them. They're going to be in Lakeland on the first weekend in April.
Okay.
And then the Blues are coming here the last weekend in April. So I work both of them.
You do the one in Lakeland too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the Blues were over there last year, and I work with them. And so it's not a lot of stuff when they're here. All your work is done beforehand.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And like I said, they give you a manual, and it basically says, we've been doing this now for 75 years. We know how to do this. Don't mess with it. And
That's understandable.
They're probably right.
yeah, and we have 10 people on our air show board, and I'm the only military one. So the first year when 14 rolled around, they sent the manual, and I mean the manual's an inch thick, and you have to answer all these things that are in it, and you have to get all the equipment, and the rest of the board was panicking over it, and I went, "This is great. This is all we have to do is what it says here.
Yeah.
We don't have to use it.
You don't have to figure things
don't
out.
have
It's
to
done.
figure
You just
out anything. It
fill in the
all
blanks.
says, do this, fill in this. Are you going to have this? Yes. Are you going to have that? No. So it's a matter of just filling in the blanks. And now getting the equipment, whole new challenge. That I started on about this time of the
what
year.
type of equipment do you need?
Everything from oxygen tanks to start carts, and it's about 8,000 pounds of equipment that we end up bringing here with on trailers. It's all trailer driven. And then the Blues normally have a C-130. It's called Fat Albert, and that brings their equipment, their maintenance equipment, their tools, their own personal tools. However, it's been broke, so they had to ship stuff all the way from that we couldn't get. They had to ship it all the way from Pensacola. So it's an adventure. I worked with Jacksonville. I worked with Patrick. I worked with McDill and Homestead. So each of them has a particular thing, and of course, none of them have the F-18 other than Jacksonville. So you're out there getting equipment, lighting equipment, and all sorts of stuff that they need. And you're shopping. You're just out there shopping it. Can you get me this? Yes, I can. I made 3 trips to Jacksonville last year.
Leading up to last year's show?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are the pilots, the Blue Angel pilots? I mean, I can't. I feel like if you
are
feel
they divas?
Yeah, or not necessarily divas, and I don't know because I've never met them, and I don't want to put anything on those guys, but I feel like if you're the best of the best, like you got to walk around with a chip on your shoulder
get
a little
like
bit.
that?
Right?
I totally would.
They do not.
Okay.
That's good.
They are the best of the best, but they're hired. All the guys are equal flyers. You don't get even picked to talk to them unless you're an excellent pilot.
Yeah.
But they will bring 3 to 5 guys, depending on where they're at. Every time they show up, they have 38 events a year, and they will bring 3 to 5 guys along to interview them and see how they handle the situations. The guy that got killed, Jeff Coos, was here. I never met him. I don't even know who they are, but they're being interviewed, they're being tested, how do you handle it? So their flying skills are obvious. It's the personality of how do you react to this? How do you handle this? How do you handle? They are no longer, they used to be recruiting. That was their big thing. They're here, sign up. Now we want to meet the public and work with the people that are here. They normally are tasked for a 1-hour event, and we do it Saturday night, other places do it Friday night, and they can leave after an hour. They never have left in Vero Beach after an hour. They close the place down when we have it.
That's pretty cool.
It really is.
That speaks to who they are.
Oh, well, they love Vero Beach. We're one of the top 2 places that they play. And it's because we're a small town and we just go out of our way to make their life wonderful.
Yeah.
You would think that was what everybody did, but they
But
don't.
it's not, is it?
No,
Okay.
no. I've talked to those guys, and they said we have been to places where the military is the worst. Yeah, you'd think military bases could go on the way. They're the worst.
I could kind of see that because they're like
Might be a little bit
So
of envy in
regimented.
there.
Everybody's a mandatory volunteer.
A mandatory
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Versus here, you want to be there.
We want to be there, and we because it's such a small town, we know everybody here. So when they say the maintenance guy that comes in on Wednesday, they come in. Number 7 comes in. It's him and who's going to do the 2 flights. We have a media rider, generally from one of the TV stations. And then we have the key influence rider. And then the backseater is the maintenance guy. And he goes around and looks at all the stuff that I've got for him. And we were using Piper's hangar. Piper's doing so well that they've taken over that hangar, and I can't use it anymore. But Sun Aviation has got a hangar that we're going to be operating out of, and they will bring in 60 people. They stay at Holiday Inn, and they are
now. Is this just the Blue Angels bringing 60
just,
people?
just the Blues are at Holiday Inn. Now we will get some of them, the performers, which is the aerobatic pilots.
Yeah.
That's what we term them, the performers. They stay, this year they're going to stay at that new hotel on 60 that they just opened up.
That bridge
Yeah.
something. It looks
Yeah.
like a nice place.
I've been told it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
That's right. The one right behind Murphy's USA
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
Dunkin' right there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I've been told it's fantastic. And so everybody's happy with where they stay, and we pay for it to a point. You know, the military gets per diem, so they'll get $125 a day for theirs. So
Yeah.
we basically take that, and that covers most of the Blues cost. And then the 6th ship comes in. The very first time that 6th ship came in, nobody really believed.
Now, for us non-military people, what is the 6th ship?
Six F-18s
Okay.
in formation, line abreast,
Okay.
and when they came in the very first time, 90% of the people in Vero Beach said, "We're Vero Beach. We're not big enough to get the Blue Angels, the real Blue Angels." And when that 6th ship came across the twin bridges out there, traffic literally stopped. And
could see
people
that.
got out of their cars and they're pointing up there. And the poor city police just kind of threw up their hands and said, "We can't move. Nobody's moving."
They're just
Nope,
yeah.
they're all
Like, what's going on?
they're
Why do we
all
have?
going, "Oh my God!" And in fact, that's one of the things that they really enjoyed. Tom Frost was the lead pilot on it, and he said, "What's so neat is when I go up and do a loop, which is just a basic, you're turning in a circle." He said, "I look down, there is not a car moving in Vero Beach.
Yeah.
Everybody's out of their cars and they're pointing up there." And Thursday is their big day here. They the show itself is really cool, but Thursday is the practice day.
Yeah.
So Thursday they will come in and the 4th ship goes up and they look for various points to make their turns off of. And as Tom said, he said it's not Walmart. It's the southeast corner of Walmart that we turn on.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
how
wow.
precise
Yeah.
they are. And I said, "What kind of a computer system do you use?" And he said, "It's my head is the computer system.
Yeah.
My brain has everything in it of when do we turn, what do we do, and the same thing with the solos. The 4th ship goes up, they spend an hour. They come in and land and debrief. The 2 ships, the solos go up and do all their maneuvers of what they're looking for. And then they come back and land and debrief, and then the whole 6th ship goes up and does a practice.
Is the 6th ship, like the people that go up in the 2 ship, are they the same part of the 6th? They just go separate to do different things? Okay,
Yeah.
got you.
There's 2 solos, and they do opposing runs and all that sort of stuff, and you just kind of go, wow. And if you see a 4 ship going up, 18 inches, That's how close they are
Really?
to each other. 18 inches.
Jeez.
That is unreal.
That is unreal. So to ask you a question, because you said it's all up here, right? It's all in their
Yep.
head as far as like southeast corner. They're not really using now. I had a conversation with a gentleman who claimed to have been a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what he mentioned to me
Sounds like you don't have a lot of faith in that.
I don't. And
I was gonna say,
by the way, this is why we have good people on that can school us and make sure that
We know what we're
we can
talking
call BS if we need to call BS, right?
Yeah.
So what he mentioned to me, he said that he was taking courses in Alaska
Uh-huh.
on piloting.
Right.
And he was driving, flying like a
By the way,
Cessna.
this is not the same dude that was in Alaska.
Different guy.
Okay.
Different guy. Yeah. Jimmy.
Yeah, you're good,
not
Jimmy.
you.
Not Jimmy. All right, Jimmy's a good
Phenomenal,
dude.
yeah.
I don't want to get him mixed up in another Alaska
No,
conversation.
Jimmy would not lie to me. At least not about that. Anyways, all right. So what he mentioned to me is that he said that with orientation, if you're flying, if you're not paying attention to your instruments, you could very well be flying upside down and not really know that you're flying upside down.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
That seems so weird to me.
Yeah.
And so for this gentleman to be like, yeah, I got this in my head, like that's just like a different level,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's what happens is that you can get vertigo. That happens if you get into weather. That's when it really happens because you have no visual sighting. If you're just driving a long day, VFR, visual flight rules, you're not going to do that. But if you get in weather, your head does not tell you accuracy. That's what your instruments are for. And your head, you can be upside down and not know it. And that's when the accidents happen. And
Okay.
And that's kind of what they were talking about for the Kobe Bryant thing.
yeah.
That
He
the
got,
VFR
he
was.
he went into weather. If he could have
Yeah.
seen the mountain, he'd have seen it. I mean, he was flying at 1,400 feet,
Yeah.
and the mountain was 2,000.
That's interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
you lose
Yeah.
track of
You can't see, yeah.
of you're trying to see stuff and you can't see it.
Yeah, because he said that his instructor tested him. He was like, "Are we upside down or not?" I said, "Don't look at your instrument because you claimed that you could do it." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Sure as heck, we were upside down."
Yep.
He was like, "I had no idea though."
Yeah.
Which is weird though because like you figure you're flying, gravity's got to be, wanting to pull you down into your seatbelt. So you would
Right.
figure that you would still feel, but your brain does not register it.
Your brain
I guess it
doesn't
depends what
register
you're
it.
flying. I mean, like,
Yeah.
because if you're on a roller coaster and you're looping, if you're not paying attention, you can't feel where it's hitting your body because you're going quicker or something
Yeah.
like that. It depends on like his.
You don't
inverted-
spend much time, upside down.
Okay.
We flew upside down a lot, but you don't spend much time, particularly in a small airplane, because they're not configured to do that.
Okay.
They will choke themselves out with fuel.
Okay.
So
That's not a good situation.
No. Although I did see at the air show a couple
Now,
years
those
ago,
guys-
those
those
guys
guys-
are awesome. That was
Yeah.
one of the best tricks I've ever seen like live. Is the guy went straight up in a little plane. He
Yep.
went straight up till it stalled out.
Yep.
And then it started spiraling down. And then he turned it on last minute and flew away. I was like,
Yeah.
it blew me away. That blew me away.
For 2 years here, 2 sessions here, we had the #1 aerobatic pilot in the world here.
Okay.
#1. He had trophies everywhere. And one of the nicest people you will ever meet. I mean, he's a big, tall guy, and he's just absolutely, he's one of those, you just kind of go, how does he do it? I wouldn't do it. A military pilot
Yeah.
would never get an
It's
airplane like that and do something like that.
It's got to be a
There's a
mindset.
protocol for this. We don't do it. That's the protocol.
These guys are nuts.
Right. Because I mean, typically, what do they say? If your engine stalls out, and if you're a pilot, right, you have to read the manual and see what your protocol is. Versus this guy is just let's just wing it. Let's see what's
Well,
See what happens.
they've lost the air show at Stewart.
That wasn't.
They
Yeah.
lost a guy at that one. We just lost one that was going to perform here, and he got killed a week ago.
wow.
And it's a dangerous business.
Yeah,
It
it,
is
sounds like
dangerous.
it.
Yeah.
Definitely
and
100%.
he was not doing anything dangerous. We don't know what happened for sure, but he had kid in the back seat with him, and he was flying a P-51 and went in both. He was a Southwest pilot as well, and you never know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sidetrack just 1 second. What are your thoughts on, and I'm not going to call anybody that is on this podcast, but there's somebody that believes that they can learn how to fly off of YouTube.
That they can do what?
That they can learn how to fly off of YouTube.
If you watch enough videos.
Once. I'd say they could do that once.
Yeah?
Okay.
Once, because you're going down. And
That's a confirmation.
I go with
Hey, that's a confirmation.
If I'm doing a scientific
All right,
investigation,
Marty.
you need more than one trial to make it actually.
All right, by the way,
work.
Marty, in case the listeners don't know, it's Corey.
I think they figured that out.
Okay.
No.
This is my thing, okay?
Okay.
I want a tail dragger, okay? And I need a little bit more property than what I got here, okay? Maybe 30 acres, okay? My plan is
just a little more.
I watch enough I watch enough videos, okay?
Uh-huh.
And I just pull up on that stick a little bit and just start like up and down. That's my plan in my head.
Like a Wright brother over here.
Do you think I got a chance?
No.
Well, I sell life insurance.
Marty, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't try it, okay? I can't.
Well, you got to realize with the tail dragger, the first thing that comes off the ground is the tail.
Yeah, I've heard that it's not a very good plane to try and learn on or anything
it's
like
a horrible plane to try to learn
But in
on.
my head, it is a bi-wing tail dragger because growing up from a little kid, I could just get in that and fly it.
So in your head, you're right, but in your head, you're wrong. That you're going to succeed.
Yeah, I think you should start flying drones first.
Listen, anything's possible. Okay, anything's possible.
All right.
What we got from this is Marty confirmed
One
that I
time.
could do it one time.
One time.
Okay.
Hey,
And then Sarah will be set for life.
yeah, he's got to meet with your wife first to sell the insurance, and then
Yeah.
you're allowed to try it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I totally understand. All right, Marty. Sorry, I didn't mean to divert the
You knew it was going to go that way
conversation.
for a
I
moment.
did.
Listen. I'm glad we got confirmation.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you, buddy.
I don't know if we're
To our
seeing it
listeners,
the same
I'm not
way.
sure if that's confirmation, but we'll let that ride from here.
Well,
Yeah, we'll let you decide.
Yeah. My standard joke is, how hard is it to be a pilot? You pull the stick back and the buildings get small. Push stick forward, buildings get big.
See, look.
It's not when things are going well. It's when you have oh crap, what happened? My engine just quit.
Read the manual.
Yeah.
I'm
And
jumping.
You don't have time and you don't have a
No,
suit.
yeah, you don't.
And,
Yeah,
and
that's.
I agree
couldn't
with that
imagine.
too because and again, my plan is a little different. I'm not gonna get the buildings real small at first, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just going up
Just the
tree
bushes.
level and then back
And then
down.
crash into the trees.
Just calm down.
Okay.
But I take my son over to the airport. Those airplanes come in all the time.
Right.
You know, just like on a regular day.
Yep.
Because I'm off during the day. So we go over there and we eat lunch and watch the airplanes come in. I see all these little Piper Cubs and stuff. And the wind comes and they're like side to side. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that looks a little hairy to me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That,
Yeah,
I mean,
I used to
those
work
little
at a,
planes coming in, I feel like on a routine basis, and I know several pilots that own their own, small planes and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know if I get in it on a regular basis.
When like I said, when it's calm weather and things went, the last flight that I had, I was dating a girl from Paris Air, and we were up. She said, "You haven't flown since you retired," and I went, "Nope, haven't." She said, "I'll take you up." So we went up, and we're up around Titusville, and she's doing all of her pilot thing. You're looking out for other aircraft and all that, and I'm sitting over there, and my head in my chin and my hands, and she said, "You don't seem very excited to be flying again." I said, "Darling, you're really cute. You're going to do a great job with the airline someday. However, you see that truck down there? It's going faster than we are." So if you want excitement when you're flying, try and be at 75 feet, 600 miles an hour. Your head's buried in the radar scope, and you hope the guy in the front seat doesn't hiccup and kill you.
Yeah.
Now that is exciting. The
Yeah.
adrenaline's really pumping.
I could.
So
Yeah.
this is not so much.
This is
Darling, you're really cute.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I know. So it's really cool to hear the behind the scenes part of bringing the Blue Angels in and putting together the air show. For our listeners that know about it, but maybe not always when it is. I'm not sure if you mentioned when is the air show taking place
In Vero.
here in Vero. Yes, sorry.
It's actually Saturday and Sunday, both days. The Blues always close the show. It starts at noon with a bunch of guys. In this case, it's the Navy jump team. Jumps out, a perfectly good airplane with the flag, and that starts off the air show at noon. And then they have performers, and this year we have the F-16 demo team, the Viper team. That is an absolutely awesome show because they can do things that you can't do in formation. I mean, the F-16 will pull 10 Gs so fast it'll make your head swim. And every F-16 squadron, we lost a bunch of them right at the beginning because it's a little handheld thing here, and you twist your wrist as opposed to the stick in the middle, which is what you're used to. And if you pull it too much back, it'll snap 10 Gs and it'll pass you out.
Oh.
And that was what was happening. We used to call them lawn darts. They'd plant one over here and they'd plant one over there, and
Gosh.
and so now every F-16 squadron has a gym, a full-size weight room in there, and that's what they exercise with, even though they wear G-suits. There's a big misconception between the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels, because the Blue Angels don't wear G-suits. The F-4 guy or the F-16 guys wear G-suits, and it's because of where the stick's located.
Interesting.
The G-suit has a bladder right on your thigh, and if you're sitting there, there's a 40-pound weight on the stick in the F-18, designed so if you lose, the plane's going to go down. So the problem is when you pull G's, this inflates. Now you're trying to control something that's inflating, deflating,
okay.
and you're 18 inches away from the other airplane.
Oh.
So that's why they don't wear G-suits. So
Wow.
it's not because they're more macho or any of that sort of stuff. It's strictly where is the stick.
Yeah.
So for the layman like me, like F-16, F-4, which one's faster?
What's what?
Which one's faster? Or are they both about the same?
The F-16.
F-16.
The F-4 was built originally for the Navy, and it was for fleet defense. Navy found out the thing was so big that you couldn't really launch them off a carrier that well. And it was also kind of a maintenance nightmare. So they convinced the Air Force that you're going to love the F-4. And it also came out of Lyndon Johnson's Texas factories.
Okay.
And so that's how we got the F-4. And we took the gear off and put in Air Force gear because we don't land on carriers. And if you fly a lot, you can always tell a Navy pilot he's going to slam that thing on the end of the runway.
Okay.
Okay.
Because he's used to
Yeah.
getting it done.
Because he's used to getting
That
it
short
down and dissipating airspeed.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
he's got to catch that rope.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because I
That
I
cable.
fly a lot. And
I always ask them when I get on there if they happen to be around. I said, Air Force or Navy? I want to know how we're going to land.
that's awesome. I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
That is funny.
That's pretty spectacular.
So there's just a lot of things that go into the air show that you don't see. We have a gala coming up February 29th. It's for the Veterans Council. It's our big fundraiser. It's a formal event. We get to dress up, and the ladies get to all dress up.
Now, can anybody go to that?
Yeah, for $150 you can go.
Right on.
Okay.
Feel free. Just look it up on Veterans Council, on the website, Veterans Council of Indian River County, and the ads on there.
Where do you guys have that at?
Pardon?
Where is it at?
Grand Harbor.
At Grand Harbor?
Yeah, we had it there last year. This is only the second one we've ever done. The first one we did, we had a guest speaker, Sylvester McIntosh. Sylvester is from Gifford, went into the Marine Corps as a young 18-year-old upset black kid, and they shipped him to Vietnam, and he jumped on a grenade, it didn't go off. He jumped on another grenade, and it didn't go off. And he jumped on the third one, and it didn't go off. God had a plan for this guy.
I guess
So
so.
he's out with his troops, and they get ambushed, and he takes a bullet in the chest. Another 2 inches the other way, and it takes his heart out. Takes a bullet in the chest, and still goes up to recover 3 other guys and pulls them back to safety.
Wow.
And this is all while he's 19 years old, and never got anything for it. No one ever wrote a citation or anything until he got his, I belong to the American Legion in Gifford, and we started hearing his story and went, that's crazy. And so we found his commander from those days in Vietnam. This was about 3 years ago, and got him to write up the events and everything, and they awarded him the Silver Star, which is the second highest medal you can get for bravery. And we've still got him in for the Medal of Honor. And if they will, still possible to happen. So Sylvester came in, and he's been a preacher out in Gifford and changed a lot of lives. And so we had him for our first guest speaker. This one, we're going to have Rick Kaiser. And Rick Kaiser is the guy who runs the SEAL Museum down there. He was on SEAL Team 6. If you remember the movie Black Hawk Down,
Yeah.
that was, Rick got the Silver Star out of that. Most people think it was strictly an Army thing. The SEALs were there as well. And so he ended up with the Silver Star out of that event. And then the movie, I think it was Dr. Phillips, Captain Phillips, whatever it was, when the Somalis took over that.
Yeah.
If you remember the ending of it is when the bad guys were out in the lifeboat, staying there. They stuck their heads out.
Yeah.
And they went bam.
Yeah.
The
They
seals
were all
are-
dead.
At one time. One bang.
One bang.
Yeah.
And Rick was one of the snipers on that one. They parachuted in at night.
Which, just from watching the movie, and I had read some stories and accounts of that to me, like, being, I wouldn't say I'm an avid shooter, but I like to shoot, the idea of being on a boat that's moving, shooting at a boat that's moving with precision with it. I mean, when you're trying to hit the cranial vault, like that, because you want them to be dead right now, not in a half a second from now. It just blows my mind thinking about it right now blows my mind.
I actually watched just recently. I sent you the video. There's a video of Jocko Willink, who you have the book right there.
Yeah.
He did a GQ video of Navy, like he did like a review of the movies, how accurate they were, etc. And he talked about Captain Phillips. So it's crazy. He's actually talking about Rick Kaiser, or possibly, right? So he's talking about him, and he was talking about how accurate of a shot that had to have been. I literally just watched it like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting story and scenario. And he's talking about, like, people think that if you're in the Navy SEALs that everybody's an excellent shot. He's like, that is not the case. You have to go to a special school to become a sniper.
Yeah. That's what Rick's comment about that was, that he said, I wasn't any good at any of the other stuff. That's SEALs.
Okay.
Said, but I could shoot pretty good.
That's awesome.
And that's what he ended up doing.
That's a little modest, I think.
Yeah.
I think, just to go to the SEALs.
I'm sure he was good at a lot of other things. Yeah.
The lifeboat that they were on is at the SEAL Museum.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's the same one. It's got the same bullet holes in it and everything. And you just kind of go, wow. So Rick's going to be our speaker at the gala.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
And we have, you always have silent auction items and everything. So I created one for the Blue Angels, and it's called A Day with the Blue Angels. See how they really operate, the behind the scenes thing. So this couple, whoever's going to win it or buy it, is going to. I'm going to take them to where all the maintenance guys are working, because that in itself is what makes it. The F-18s are flying now are the oldest airplanes in the Navy.
Really?
By far. Yeah. Next year they're going to get the Super Hornet. This year is the last year that they're going to be flying
They'll be in the
that
F-18s.
airplane.
So is the Super Hornet, is that the newest airplane then?
Yeah.
So they're going to go from the oldest to the
Yeah.
newest.
Yeah, and they've been working at that for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Of the guys he was the boss 2 years ago. And Ryan Bernanke, and he's the guy that's doing all of the training of how. Here's what it's a totally different airplane.
Yeah. I can
It's
imagine.
bigger. It's got different engines. It flies differently.
So will that be the fastest airplane in the fleet then, or in the military?
They will be up there with the just like the rest of the fleet is.
Yeah.
So because all of these guys came from the fleet. And
Yeah.
the fleet all had Super Hornets, so they
Okay.
regressed.
Okay, so they kind of went
back.
backwards in technology.
Yeah, it's a 2-year tour for them. The enlisted guys, it's a 3-year tour. So there's going to be a number of them that have been here in 18,
Okay.
and they absolutely love
You
it.
said the enlisted guys is a 3-year tour?
Yeah.
Oh, so they don't all have to be enlisted?
No, there's 10 officers and about 60 enlisted,
Okay.
and they don't bring the whole troop. Actually, there's probably close to 100 enlisted,
Okay.
and they'll split, going because they're gone every weekend.
Yeah.
They have after they had the accident, they've cut back a little bit, and now they'll do 8 shows, and then they have a mandatory weekend off. type of
Okay.
thing. And it's a stressful job
Yeah.
because you're gone all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I
just-
can
you
imagine.
just beat
Constantly to a new
yourself-
spot.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just beat yourself coming and going, and it's always the same, and tough job. But they're very good at it. The only guy is when he comes in number 7. They had a winter visit here in December.
Okay.
They had the one airplane came in, and
I saw them fly in or saw them fly out.
7 and 8 come in, and they make sure that you know what you're doing.
Okay.
And they came in here, and they said, we really don't have to come here because we know you know what you're doing. When I go to an event in Vegas, it's called the International Council of Air Shows. There's 1,500 people that show up trying to sell themselves to the air shows, and it covers insurance and all that sort of stuff. But the Blues are there, and they have what's called a Navy Forum, and that Navy Forum is designed for everybody that's having an air show in 2020. You're in there, and they will tell you what they want. Here's what we would like to have happen, and we get mentioned all the time about it because our Saturday night event, we created the food truck event out at Riverside Park
Okay.
with 35 food trucks, a band, and the Blues.
So that is you guys that do it at Riverside Park. Because
Yeah.
my parents have a food truck, and they were looking into it, and they asked me about that, and they said, I don't understand if it's the same as the air show, if the air show puts that on, or if it's something different.
Put on by the air show.
Okay.
What happened was that when in the 14, I worked with a guy named Ryan Chamberlain. He was number 6 at the time, 7. And he wrote an article called Read the Freaking Manual. And what he said in the thing was, we go to 38 places every year. If you're going to do the same old tired thing with the politicians on Friday night, and there's the politicians, and there's this,
Yeah.
he said, we're not coming anymore. You got to come up with something different. So we came up with, David Walker, in fact, came up with the idea and said, why don't we do food trucks and band and all that? And The Blues loved it. They went, this is so cool. So
Nice.
now when we go out there I was out there in December, and they said, when it comes to the community involvement, here's what we'd like to see. We'd like to see a bunch of food trucks. We'd like to see a band, and we'd like you to do it at a park. And if you don't know how to do that, the guy from Vero Beach is sitting right there. Wave your hand and go see him.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
They don't
is
talk
awesome.
about anybody else.
Marty, you
Other
made a new norm.
other
That's the new norm for them. That's
Yeah,
nice.
no,
Yeah.
you've raised this. You've raised the standard, and
so-
Riverside's a beautiful.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
location.
And
I love-
this year it's gonna be at Riverside, but it's not under the oaks because the little old ladies from the Orchid Society have reserved that every year, same time. So we're gonna have it over by the carousels over there
Oh, in the open area?
in the open area,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
which makes it better actually.
I agree.
Yeah.
Particularly for security.
yeah.
You know, because right now security is such a concern for everywhere. So, yeah, it's and they just keep going.
That's awesome.
And it's not just out there; it's everywhere they go. They
Yeah,
talk
you said
about-
they do 30.
Yeah.
They
That's
talk
awesome.
about Vero
Years.
Beach, and the other thing was, you know, last in 18 they left 2 airplanes here. They had a bird strike airplane, and they had one where the nose gear fell out.
They leave the keys? They leave the keys or?
Yeah,
Can
Yeah.
can we take it up once?
you weren't going anywhere in that.
Okay,
in that one.
all right.
Can we try and take it up once?
I'll start watching my YouTube videos right now, Marty. I mean,
Well, you can. I do have the one with the bird strike,
okay.
and it was 2 solos, and they were coming to opposing solos, and you see this bird flying along, and all of a sudden it goes what? Boom, and you see the engine explode. And it's
gosh.
Thank God it's 2-engine airplane.
Yeah.
And you see that it exploded, and I'm watching this guy, and the guy turns out, and I went, uh-oh, this is not good. And nobody really knew what happened because he came in, landed, took the spare airplane, off he went again, and everyone's going, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Never knew
So
it.
yeah, Blue Angels obviously they fly in. Does everybody fly in, or
Yeah.
do like
Yeah.
because like what makes me ask that is that not everybody has a big plane, right? So some of them are smaller planes, and they just fly everywhere.
Yeah.
They have a cool car, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm just gonna.
Now, there's some of the acts, of course, have a trailer. You know, we have a jet team, a jet engine
Yep.
guy.
Yep, I've seen that.
Runs at 350 miles an hour down the runway.
Yeah,
Is it a car then, like a jet car?
yeah.
It's a jet truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Jet truck.
he's got jet engines on.
Well, there's a jet racing team right in Palm Bay. That
at
they
FIT?
just lost that little girl. Actually, a little girl. She was a lady. Last year actually.
The
But there's a
FIT
big.
people? The
No,
I
no,
think he
racing team.
races. They race a plane, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. It's incredible.
Well, Marty, you're a wealth of knowledge, that's for sure. We like this. I love it. April 25th and 26th is
That's
the
the
air
day.
show.
That's the air show.
February 29th 's the gala.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've got one with Walking Tree. Walking Tree supports veterans hugely. We have a prom, and it's the 3rd prom, and the concept is Back to the Future. So
Okay.
there, you can dress up. And
When is that?
And who does
That's-
that benefit?
That's March 14th.
March 14th.
And who does that benefit?
That's all the Veterans Council.
The Veterans Council.
What they're doing this time that they haven't done before is they've got 10 guys and 10 gals competing one another, and the person that raises the most money is the prom king, prom queen. So the very first one they had was it was the 80s prom, and I won.
Yeah.
awesome.
I went as Tom Cruise with Top Gun.
There you go.
You got to. You got to. Yeah.
Felt the need for speed. I get that.
Now who is your goose?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. I had Danger Zone, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I did want to say is we thank you for your service.
Oh,
Yes,
You know,
Definitely.
You
Thank
know,
you.
I think that's fantastic and go
And the fact that your passion keeps you going to share the love of flight is pretty
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we like to end the show with a a question that you can kind of leave for our listeners, and it's based on your experiences. What is one of the most important pieces of advice you could give to our listeners?
When you retire, do not go to the couch and watch The View. Get out, get involved. And there are so many opportunities in Vero Beach to volunteer. There's 800 charities in Vero Beach.
Oh, wow.
And there are people begging you to come and be on their board of directors. And it is so much fun. If your head goes, everything else goes with it. Keep your head engaged. Keep working. Keep busy. I talk to guys all the time, and I go, what are you doing? They went, nothing. I went, you can only play golf so much.
Yeah.
I did that when I retired. I went, hey, got my handicap down, and was bored to tears, and got involved with the Veterans Council and other things like that, volunteering.
That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that for
That's
sure.
great advice.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that.
If I get to retirement age, that is definitely my plan.
Yeah.
To keep hustling, keep doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
Larry and I say all the time that we're going to work for the rest of our lives.
Well, and there's nothing wrong
Mainly
with
because
that.
we keep putting ourselves in debt.
Yeah. Well, the Corvette isn't free.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, no, this is awesome, Marty.
But if I get lucky enough to retirement, and even now though, I don't even feel like you need to be retired though, because there's so much good that you can do in your community, and I mean, you're proof of that right here, sitting in front of us. And we do thank you for not only your military service, but the service you do for our community for sure.
It's been great. You know, we do so much. When I started, we had 2 buses that carried veterans down to West Palm, and we did the Veterans Day and Memorial Day. That's all we did. And we had a budget of maybe 85,000. Now we have a budget of 450,000. We have programs to help veterans that need help. We have PTSD programs. So
that's awesome.
Get yourself involved, and
that's fantastic.
And it was all my wife's thing. You know, she said, I'm tired of you sitting around and whining. If you don't like what you see, get involved and change it. And that was 2008. Okay. And I've been involved with the Veterans Council on the board of directors ever since.
That's absolutely spectacular.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's awesome. Marty, we're going to do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like I could talk to you for another 5 hours.
Well, I haven't even touched the Veterans Council.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're going to do this
absolutely.
again. For sure.
Thank you, Marty.
All right, guys, as always, you got any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at fullgorillalife@gmail.com.
Make sure you want to follow us on social. Check us out at Facebook and Instagram at Full Gorilla Life, and Twitter at Gorilla Full.
With 2 L's. Yeah, I just throw it out there.
It's fine.
And also, please feel free to visit our website, fullgorilla.life, and please follow us on your podcast app of choice. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Later.
Take care.